out there and inform everybody of exactly what's going on. And we will start with Phil.
Sure. So thank you, Ray. First, I want to announce, I mentioned last Friday, and a lot's changed since last Friday, but we are here to serve you. We actually have 12 people on the phones. We are still getting over 200 calls a day. So please give us a call. That's what we're here for. But starting today, and this is new, work with us. We're going to figure this out. We are going to start shipping products. So if you need something from our store, please let us know. We will get it to you. So call our call center, explain what you need, tell us what you need. We'll get it to you. Now, some of the large items, we will figure that out. I have a feeling we'll do some type of come to our office. We'll leave it outside. Tell it by appointment only. Tell us you're coming at 10 o'clock. We'll set it outside. We'll have somebody inside kind of watching it, and you can pick it up. Otherwise, if it's something smaller, we can ship it to you. But again, call our call center. We will have somebody in our building able to get this product to you. So if we have something you need, let us know.
Yeah.
I did mention we have 12 people on the phones, so there should be no wait time either. Normally so I should tell you this, on a normal day, if anybody remembers what normal was like a few weeks ago, we would get between 400 to 450 calls a day. That was normal for us. That was 11 months a year. I say 11 because January was always we'd get 1,000 calls a day because of dues. But 11 months a year, we'd get 400 to 450 calls a day, and we had 7 people answering the phone. Now we are getting 200 calls a day. Maybe we might spike at 250, but we have 12 people answering phone calls. So there should be no wait time at all when calling in. In fact, for those that call in pretty regularly, there was very little, if no wait time before when we had 7 people with 400, 450 calls. So give us a call. We're here to help you. And that's what I have. That's the new news from Pacific West.
But you also have news about, can you share with the members when the federal order came out and what that means for realtors specifically in PWR's area? And let's be really careful, friends. You're on Facebook, you're in Facebook groups. This is not the entire state, and this is not every city and county. And so if you have realtor friends who are upset with you because you might be able to do things, you need to understand that not everyone can do what we can do. But Phil, share with us what we can do.
I forget, it was Friday since we filmed last, and the world has changed since Friday. It's changing daily.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, I'm sure all of you are aware that it was actually the federal government, which most states just align with the federal government, reissued an order of certain businesses being essential. Real estate was classified now as essential. Now, I tell you this because at any time, the county or local city can reclassify us as non-essential. So be smart out there. And when I say we're essential, the things you were doing a month ago, you should not be doing today. Things have changed. You say, maybe should I do an open house? Absolutely not. We actually got a call yesterday from somebody that was doing an open house, and we contacted them right away and said, yeah, stop that. Don't do that anymore. But if you need to meet that inspector at the property, if you need to show that house, especially if it's vacant, oh my goodness, yes. There's things you can and cannot do safely. Make sure you're practicing safely. I know we're going to go into talking about ways you can do it safely, and CR came out with a great Be Safe guide. But to go back, Orange County, LA County, and I'm going to say the city of Long Beach, because the city of Long Beach has its own health department. Those 3 different municipalities, meaning the 2 counties and 1 city, have followed what the federal government and the state government is saying, that real estate is essential. So you can work. Now, you just have to modify how you're working to make sure it's safe for you to do. And we have 3 practicing realtors on here. I'm not a practicing realtor, but they're going to tell you ways that they're doing it to make sure it is safe.
Hey, Phil, you touched on this, and I just want to make sure it's known, and that is, it's definitely not business as normal.
No.
And the local cities or local governments can definitely revoke the essential status. So
Correct.
just be smart. And if you have questions about that, please be sure to reach out. But I just want to make sure that everyone's, practicing real estate smartly and safely, so we don't run into that issue.
Correct.
Yeah. I think that the thing that CAR did with the guide of the and PWR has emailed this out many times, and you can also go to that CAR, I think it's carcoronavirus.org or something like that. You can find it. It's posted there, and it's got all the tips and all of the suggestions and all of the guidelines that you should be following to practice safe real estate right now. And one of them is as simple as, appointment only. Don't have multiple people in the property at the same time. If the inspector does have to go, there's really, I don't want to say there's no reason, because we're used to buyers attending inspections, but in this moment right now in 2020, the buyer doesn't need to be there. The inspector's capable of having a conference call or a video call to go over the report with them after. There's lots of ways that we can facilitate this to minimize the, face-to-face interaction that we're used to doing. So for my advice is read the guidelines. It's about 4 or 5 pages, but actually read them because they're really good. Yes, thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, and after you read them, there are new CAR forms that kind of put all of this into a signable disclosure that we give with an addendum to the listing contract. And what was the other one for buyers, right?
So yeah, it's called so there's a listing addendum that's come out. And you guys, I think Phil said this is going to be on Zip Forms tomorrow. It's called the RLACAA, and it basically goes through, it's for the seller to sign about how you're going to handle property showings and how you're going to handle pre-sale and under contract activities like inspections, photography, installing the sign, you having to go over and do your AVI. It's all on there. And then the other one that I'm going to use the second it comes out is the PEAD, the Property Entry Advisory and Declaration. And it's for a seller and buyers to sign before you let anyone into the property. And it's basically going over that they are certifying or agreeing, not certifying, they're agreeing that they're not sick. They haven't been around anyone they know is sick. They're going to use hand sanitizer, wash their hands, use gloves. All those types of things are on here. So when this comes out tomorrow, make sure you go download it and use it. Personally, no one is going to look at one of my listings until I have this signed.
And
one of the things, oh, go ahead, Seth.
I was going to say that form, I think on Friday we were talking about all the companies creating their own. That will replace it. That's CAR's version, and we want to use that version.
Yes.
And one of the things I read in here that I thought was kind of neat, it says, for sellers, if you are going to allow showings in your property, they want sellers out of the house. So seller leave the house. Agent can go in with, I think it said no more than 2 people in the house at any given time. And then it also said it was a good tip for sellers, before you leave your house, turn on all the lights, open all the doors, do everything you can so that when a buyer comes in, they can have their hands like this and walk around and pretty much not have to touch anything. So I thought that was kind of, and I haven't read the disclosure, that PEDA, whatever it was, but to see if all that is in there. But I thought that was very good information. And then it said if you had 4 or 5 people that were there to watch, to look at the house, 2 wait outside or 3 wait outside and 2 go in, look at the house, just be smart about all this. And I think we can get through this by working from home as much as possible. And I bet you this whole thing is going to change the way we do real estate in the near future too.
Yeah.
Hey, Barb, you have a listing going live coming up soon, right?
Yeah.
And tell me about how you are allowing showings and dealing with that.
Yeah, so actually just launched it last night. And what me and the seller decided to do, because they have 2 children at home, and although they're not necessarily frightened by all of this, they're being cautious and they're concerned, and they just don't want a trail of people through their property. And so what we decided to do was we did obviously professional photos. We did a virtual video. I wouldn't even call it virtual tour because they're really just videos. And then we did the 3D Matterport tour. I have all of those posted online. And one message, guys, CRMLS has removed the restriction that we can't put virtual tours links in the public remarks. You can do that right now temporarily. That will go away. But right now you can. You used to never be able to do that before. And that's in an effort so that the public can click on it easier than having to go through an agent to get
non-branded, right?
Non-branded, yes. Non-branded. Your logo, your marketing can't be on any of it. Yes, thank you, Ray.
I've tested a few of those. I've seen agents in like public remarks, and I go to that link to make sure that they're not trying to pull a fast.
Yes. So how I handled it was I have two different versions of my video. I have one unbranded and one branded. The unbranded one is listed as unlisted on YouTube. So you have to have the link, and that's the one that's in the MLS. But if a buyer texts me directly, I can send them my branded one that is public on YouTube. So be smart about that. You can do two different versions and have one unlisted that you need a link and have one posted. So what I'm doing is in the private remarks, it says, please have your client take the virtual tours. If they are interested, I'm asking them to submit an offer, or at minimum, their pre-approval, proof of funds, everything, but I'd prefer an offer subject to, I'm not even calling an inspection, I'm saying subject to showing. And then my client and I can decide the top 2 or 3 offers. Because if we get 5 or 6 offers and they weren't going to entertain all of them, there's no reason to let those people come through the property. So the top 2 or 3 offers will get a private appointment to see the property, revise their offer, just like you would an investment property. And that will limit the amount of people coming through the property. And my client was extremely happy with that. And I think that the more we offer solutions like that to our clients that want to transact real estate, the more we can keep this market going.
What a great strategy.
What do you think, Ray, Mr. Listing Broker?
So to be honest, I'm kind of pushing. I have a list of 5 or 6 listings that I have that I've spoken with my sellers, and we've all agreed that we're not going to list it until this all kind of blows over. But obviously there's people in situations that have to, the many reasons somebody would have to be selling a property right now. So luckily I don't have anybody in that position. And so we're waiting until things kind of blow over a little bit to put it back on the market.
Well, I think the longer this goes on, though, and Stephanie and I've had this conversation privately, the longer this goes on, the more sellers are going to get anxious to list their homes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think that right now it's okay when we thought it would just be a few weeks, but now we're talking end of April. And let's be honest, in California, it's probably more like mid-May. Yeah. I think we're going to see some sellers get anxious out there or worry that they're seeing all these other properties come on the market, right? Yeah. And they're isn't on the market because they're paying attention to the portals, whether we know it or not. They're looking, and I'm actually shocked at the amount of properties I see coming on the market right now.
Yeah, with the number of people working from home right now, you don't think if they're in the market and interesting, they're not spending a lot of time searching the different portals right now to see what's on the market.
Yeah,
I can imagine that traffic's pretty high right now.
Stephanie, I want to ask you a question because you and I have talked about this, but my clients will ask me, well, what about days on market? And what if I sit on the market? And I know my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours as a broker, what you're telling your agents. But my opinion is I'd rather see my client sit on the market for a few weeks than miss out on that great buyer that might be out there for their property. Because when this is all over and we get an influx of property, we don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And we're talking with our agents about, now's a great time for buyers. They are dealing with a lot of more opportunity than they had a few weeks ago because a lot of other buyers have removed themselves from the market. And so from a seller standpoint, there's really serious, good quality buyers out there that are ready to move. And if your property sits, a little bit longer, waiting to find that buyer, it's really not a big deal.
No.
And maybe I change my tune now with these new forms coming out that give us a little bit of a guideline, because I think that's what worried me before was, okay, how are we going to do showings? How are we going to do this? Because there's been so much like, you can't do this. Oh, wait, yeah, you can. But so now we have a little more clarity on this. And I think probably what I am going to do is call a handful, all these people and say, read this form. Tell me, do you want to go this route? Because we can do this now. Yeah,
Ray, secretly, I said that for you because I'm like, we need to, I don't know where you are in my screen, but, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to list their home right now, but what I am saying is I would love for our PWR members who are watching this to chime in and tell me what you think about this, because some sellers are afraid of their days on market, but can we all agree as a community that if in May, you're looking at days on market and your client says to you, well, it's been on the market for 75 days.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be like, do you remember what we just went through for the last 60 days? Like, come on. I personally, because there's some brokers that are up in arms about CRMLS not stopping days on market when you're on hold right now. And I just don't think buyers are going to care that much in May and June. Do you guys?
No.
Yeah. Now, Phil, you've been on the CRMLS board of directors calls, and we probably should touch on that about the on hold and the days on market, because people are concerned about that. So can you kind of give the background on why that was a no?
You know, CRMLS is doing what they can to help the industry. I mean, and the members that are members of CRMLS, and they're making changes not only to the hold, not only to the do not show, you know, the different statuses, because you know, sellers are concerned. You know, the first thought is always what's best for the sellers. What's best for the sellers. And if the sellers don't want people in their homes, they shouldn't have people in their homes. If the sellers don't want to, you know, if they want to take this off the market for the next few weeks because they're not comfortable, there should be that option. And so that's what CRMLS is doing. CRMLS has made the exceptions during this time so that the listing agent and the seller can discuss what's going on and discuss what they're comfortable with and make the appropriate change so they can feel comfortable if they want to sell during this time, or if they want to wait a few weeks till this passes as well.
Well, and I think that's so important, you know, that it is about the sellers, it is about the clients, and it's a nice reminder for us as agents to be super respectful right now. And Barb, you have, you know, drilled this home so many times with your clients and or even other realtors, just because you may not agree or your client wants to pull a listing off the market and you're like, great, it's all okay, and we need to do what's best for our clients. We're in the service industry and we're here to serve and do the best for our people.
100%. I think that right now everyone in the transaction has to give grace and compassion and patience and work together. And I've said this on every live I've been on with the realtor family of I'm seeing more cooperation than I've ever seen. And I really hope if one good thing comes out of this is that we as realtors look back and remember how we worked together during this time and not against each other. Because let's face it, sometimes it's realtor to realtor fighting about something and not about the buyer and seller. And I feel like we have now transitioned into this, wow, we all need each other right now, and we need to cooperate. And that's the whole spirit of being a realtor and the MLS and the code of ethics to begin with. You know, it's an example and transitions us into our, what's going on with Ray down there, transitions us into maybe another topic is financing issues. If I
yell at a kid, sorry.
Actually, Barbara, before we move on, we did have a question that just came up that maybe one of you can address. The question is, are on holds and withdrawn homes allowed to be sold? I have a few listing agents that are on hold that have accepted offers during this time. Should this listing be made active at that point?
Well, John Giarnelli's chiming in. Maybe he can support this answer. I believe the answer is yes, because on hold just means it can't be shown. It's still an active listing. And so, for instance, if a property, imagine this, your client already saw a property. They already viewed it. And it went on hold because the seller didn't want any more showings, but now you want to submit an offer. I don't think that's ever not been okay. Withdrawn, I don't know the answer to. But I believe on hold just means it's not being shown.
And I think it's a good opportunity for buyer's agents to search hold properties, because I bet you'll find a lot. You'd find a handful of mine that my sellers have told me to hold for a little while.
Yeah.
We would accept an offer on. If we got an offer on any of those, they'd be, okay, let's go. So
yeah. John's probably a few seconds behind us because we know he has tech challenges sometimes, but maybe he'll chime in and answer. Stephanie, what do you think?
I agree. My question mostly, I guess, to John is withdrawn listings are still technically, they're not canceled.
Exactly.
So how does that come into play?
Yeah. And I agree with Ray on the on hold. You know, our good friend Shauna Drum, who's also a PWR board member, she pointed out to me, you know, make sure you update all of your matrix searches for your clients, all of your portal. This is why it's important. Here's something that you can go out and if one thing's going to come out of this, you guys, our realtor members need to know that our value is going up right now. Our value of needing a realtor is going up exponentially. And here's why. When you put a property on hold, it comes off the sites. You can't see it anymore on the portals, but we can see it. And we can update our matrix searches to include on hold. So although our clients may not be able to see everything about the property, they still know it's out there and that it exists. And there's an active listing contract on it. So remember that to update your personal searches to include holds if you don't already have that, and withdrawns if you don't already have that in your searches that you have set up for your clients.
Thank you.
So back to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is financing. If I see the biggest risk we have right now, in my opinion, in the industry right now, this moment, is financing and the ability for financing, and the fact that the jumbo market is kind of not shut down, on pause. The non-QM loans, if you don't know what those are, look them up. Those are like your bank statement loans, your income statement loans. And then FHA's even having some trouble because of investors. So check in with your lenders and see what's going on. Any buyers you have, you need to check in with the lender and ask about their approval. Is it still valid? Is it still okay? Can they still get that rate? Stephanie, I'm sure in your brokerage, you're seeing we have 3 or 4 major issues with financing right now.
Well, not only that, and I apologize if you said this, I was actually reading John's response, but FHA and VA loans too have upped their credit requirements. So that may put some buyers out of it. So unless they've locked their rate, make sure you are having that conversation with lenders.
Yeah, our biggest issue right now is not only the credit issue, but for instance, on FHA the other day, the only rate available on FHA was 3.75 with 2.125 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
So don't think because your client was approved that they still are under the same rate and term. So all of you that aren't using the rate and term section on your offers,
now's a good time.
Yeah.
I'm sure John's probably jumping out of his chair right now, so happy we're talking about this, because the rate and term that your client qualified for before, if that has changed, they may not qualify anymore, and you're not protected with that loan contingency section, or you have to prove you couldn't get the loan you stated. So you better be putting down what your buyer expects to receive as far as a rate and term, because if it jumps tomorrow to something different, they may not qualify anymore, or the payment may be something that they don't want to pay. So we really need to be paying attention to how we're writing our contracts right now.
I like that.
Stephanie, do you want to cover what John said?
Yeah, so John did say that he's agreeing back to the question about on hold or withdrawn statuses. He did want to point out, if withdrawn, you still need to confirm that compensation is still being offered. And he put in caps, do not play games with any off-market statuses as listing agents. So don't use, this is not an opportunity as a listing agent to use this as a strategy either.
On hold and withdrawn mean there's still an active contract in place, you guys. Like, I cannot, thank you, John, for reminding us about that. I cannot express that enough. On hold does not mean go knock on anybody's door, and withdrawn doesn't mean contact the seller directly. Like, that is not okay. You're going to have a major issue if we start doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And Alma, you said your clients haven't seen the property, so I would have to do subject to inspection. You know, honestly, Alma, what I would do is just call the listing agent. Call the listing agent and say, hey, I see your property on 1234 Main Street is on hold. Are your clients interested in receiving offers? What's the situation? This is where we need to pick up these phones and start calling each other. You know, I added a remark in my listing. I said, I will help you. Call me. Because I feel like realtors are so afraid to call each other. Like, call me. Let's talk about it. If you call me right now and say, oh my God, my clients love your property, but they really want to see it before they write an offer, they're scared, then I'm probably going to arrange to let you see the house, depending on who you are, what's going on with your clients, not who you are, but Like our conversation, what's going on with the client situation? That's not what I meant. Is the client pre-approved? Do they, what do they, are their jobs secure? We can work on this together, but you need to pick up the phone and call the agent. I wouldn't just start throwing around offers.
We're all just sitting at home doing nothing, so call us.
Right.
My house has never been cleaner, or my honey-do list is like gone. I walk around going, what should I do today? I feel like I'm retired.
And can we chat for a few minutes? Ray and Stephanie, I want to know how you're handling this with your clients, if you're getting phone calls, because I know I am, of clients who it's April 1st, the rent's due and the mortgage is due. And people are hearing all this craziness of don't have to pay your mortgage for 3 months, and this servicer's doing this and this servicer's doing this. And what advice are you giving your clients? Because I know I'm having some serious conversations.
In all honesty, I haven't had a whole lot of people call me about it. The people just not paying rent scares me big time, because that's such a trickle down from a landlord that owns a 4-unit building and he's not getting any rent, and it just keeps going and going. But
yeah, that was your wife.
My wife coming in on this. No, I'm getting phone calls. I'm getting phone calls, but I'm not getting phone calls about this specifically, about not paying rent.
No, I think she's referring to your honey-do list.
House and doing your honey-do list.
Oh, okay.
This is live stuff, you guys. I mean, if you aren't enjoying this, then I'm enjoying this. This is hysterical. Stephanie, what about you?
I'm in the same boat as Ray. We're not receiving a ton of calls yet. I think it's just starting to hit. But you sound like you've had those conversations already. So tell me what conversations you're having.
I have with a few people, and so my husband and I are going to do a live later today just for our database. And the message I'm going to send is, if you can pay your rent and you can pay your mortgage, you should. This is not a rent and mortgage holiday. Yeah. The second thing is, we need to be really careful the advice we're giving. That's why I'm asking the question, because I don't want realtors out there giving the wrong advice. And I had a long conversation with my lender yesterday who said, when 08 happened, or really, let's say 06, 07, because 08 was kind of when it went crazy. But when 07, 08 started happening, there was all this mixed messaging out there that ended up being bad for people on the back end when they tried to requalify for a loan, a refinance, a mortgage, whatever. And the whole idea of forbearance, you have to understand that on the 1003 right now, there's a question that says, have you ever had a forbearance? I don't think people understand that. That actually is a question. And so although they're saying, yes, you can take a pause on your mortgage, and there are people out there who cannot pay their mortgage right now, guys, I get that. But they need, my advice to my clients is, don't just go off what the servicer is saying. Pick up the phone and call your trusted loan officer or mortgage professional and ask their advice, because they're the ones that are going to be giving you another loan in the future. And how might this affect your future borrowing capability? Because I think right now, we don't know the answer to that yet. My lender personally said she feels like in the next few weeks, they'll be getting that answer. So maybe it's try to do everything you can to make April happen and let some of these rules shake out.
Yep.
Because the last thing you want to do is not pay your mortgage. It's going to be tacked on to the end, or you have to pay it in July. And then all of a sudden you want to sell and buy again a year from now. And now there's some damage done because we don't know those answers. And that's what I'm afraid is realtors are out there being like, don't pay your mortgage. You won't have any issues. The bank will forgive you. Well, your servicer might forgive you. But it doesn't mean you're not going to have a loan issue in the future. That's what I want people to be careful of.
Yeah. And if you can, by all means, pay it. But you brought it up, and we were just on a phone call yesterday with a big lender talking about everything that's coming out. And his response is, there's so much that we don't know yet. They just signed a lot of this in last week, and the actual rules and how it's going to shake out is coming, and we don't have the answers yet. And it's not up to us to say, sure, Ray, don't worry about that, because, it could have a totally different, what's the word I'm looking for?
Trailing effect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For Ray, that I don't even know because of X, Y, and Z that Ray has not told me.
Exactly. And Andrea just asked, what about credit reports? We've heard that the servicers and Fannie and Freddie are not going to report this negatively on people's credit, but that's not really what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned more about the getting a loan in the future. And will that question be added in 2020? Did you ever miss a mortgage payment? Who knows what you're going to add, right? And then flip to rents. The other thing that I'm hearing and seeing online is people talking about not paying their rent and, oh, well, I can't be evicted. Well, you can't be evicted right now.
Yeah.
But no landlord can be expected to carry negative rents for 6 to 8 months. And then you just get to not pay your mortgage and or your rent and not pay it back. And yeah, the courts are going to be a little backed up when they reopen, but it doesn't mean no evictions forever, guys. It just means that they can't kick you out of your house right now. And that concerns me that people are getting all this mixed messaging because of the media headlines. And that's what I want to say to my realtor colleagues. We are the real estate professionals, and you don't have all the answers, but you can point them to the right people that have the right answers.
There is one question about some tips working with first-time buyers and making offers on homes.
Yeah, that's hard. I think we just have to guide them that this is the new norm, temporary normal for a while. And that maybe, Rachel, just guide them into knowing that just because you write an offer subject to inspection, you're not bound by that contract you wrote. I think that's where we as professionals have to educate that this happens all the time, and tell them this happens all the time in investment property and in multi-unit property where we maybe can't get in every unit. And then you inspect it or show it, and then you can revise your offer because it was subject to inspection. So, and not inspection meaning physical inspection, subject to actually, that's why I'm saying subject to showing or viewing.
Or even
inspection word, it gets confusing.
Or even going the route that you just mentioned, Barbara, is just calling the listing agent and saying, hey, my clients are very nervous about doing an offer subject to inspection. Have a chat with them about your buyers, how qualified they are, all that good stuff, and say, look, we'll send you over this new disclosure that CAR just put out tomorrow, and we'll take it from there, and we will be safe. We'll wear gloves. I've had agents call me and say, hey, I want to show your listing. I promise we'll have gloves on. We'll hand sanitize. We won't touch anything in the house. So we just need to talk to each other, and you can probably go that route and not have to. But at the same time, I think your advice was good, Barbara, just explaining to them that it doesn't mean they're bound to buy this house. It's subject to seeing it. So if they don't see it, then it doesn't, their contract's no good.
Yeah. I think that's great advice.
What did John just say?
He says systems are going to get crushed with evictions and other related issues, and it's going to happen. I mean, it is a real thing, and that's the thing that
But on that, Barbara, I mean, if you can pay your rent, pay your rent.
Oh,
if you can't pay your rent, call your landlord or your property manager and talk to them and figure out a situation. Just don't go silent and say let's see what happens here. You know, we talked about earlier about communication. Whether it's your credit card company, your mortgage, your landlord, talk to them. If you can pay it, pay it. If you can't pay it, then have that open line of communication.
Yeah. Andrea asked if a place is vacant, would it be easier to show prior to offer? Yeah, I don't think we're seeing what I talked about on vacant properties. I think we're seeing it more on occupied properties than vacant properties. So I don't think that we're seeing it on vacant properties. At least I'm not. We haven't had any trouble getting into any vacant properties this week.
I like Katie's comment because that's very true, that we can control the environment of our showings far better than the grocery stores are controlled. So
amen, Katie. Amen, Katie Larson, who is a good friend of mine, and she's one of our grievance committee members.
Yeah.
I've been saying that the entire time, Katie. I've been saying that for, Stephanie knows this, since March 12th. I'm like, gloves, a wipe. I don't go to the grocery store like that right now. I'm not touching anything inside of a house like I'm touching fruits and vegetables and boxes and takeout. And so, amen, Katie.
Andrea asked about lockboxes, and from this best practices guideline that we got yesterday, it says take a wipe with you, and before you open the lockbox, wipe it down. And after you put the key back in there, wipe it down. So I think it's just having all the appropriate, one thing I don't have right now that Krista will hear me say this and she's going to get on Amazon or something. I don't have the gloves. And
You're not going to get on Amazon, right?
They're just gone.
Okay. I told you days ago to go to Lowe's that they had plenty of gloves and booties.
I need toilet paper. Do you guys, anybody have any toilet paper?
I was actually at Costco the other day and they actually had it.
Krista.
Yeah.
Toilet paper or gloves?
Toilet paper.
Oh.
Yeah.
John says brokers should carefully read CAR's best practices and consider creating a checklist of do's and do nots for agents to follow. That's fantastic idea, John. That is fantastic.
How was this emailed to all our?
Yes.
Okay, so this was emailed yesterday.
Yeah, more than once.
Okay.
So, right. PWR members, are you reading your email?
And you know what? We'll be sending it again too. We've sent it twice, and we'll continue to send it because even though you've read it once, read it again. There's some great tips in there that you really should follow.
So Priscilla found gloves at Home Depot. Good job, Priscilla.
All right, I'll be back.
Okay, can we talk about the last subject that Barb wanted to talk about? Because I love me some social media. But can I ask some realtors out here to do me a favor?
What? Be nice?
Well, yeah. Yes. Be nice and understand. Understand that every realtor you are friends with on Facebook does not have the same rules you do in different areas. And we need to respect that and respect their opinions. And they also need to respect ours. So I'm not giving any opinions on Facebook. Ray asked me this earlier, and I'm not giving any opinions. If I see a realtor, I message them privately. But how many of you have seen the post about real estate? You may think it's not essential, but think about these 3 scenarios about the 80-year-old grandmother and the single mom. And I forget the third one.
I have not seen it.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen it?
No.
Stephanie's been busy with his honeydew list.
Yeah, Ray's been busy with his honeydews.
Okay, well, just go look at some realtors. You'll find it. But here's my advice. Don't take and copy and paste anyone's post. Okay? That's just really good advice for Facebook in general because you don't know where that started from. You don't know who wrote that. And it's not your story. So I just personally, if you do want to talk about how you have specific clients and situations who need your assistance, because that's your way of telling people that, hey, I can do real estate in certain circumstances, then make it your own story. Make it your own story about your own people, not something that someone in who knows where posted and has been recopied, as I've seen it about 85 times in my feed. Ask me where 85 came from, but I've seen it a lot in my feed. Everyone's saying yes. Guys, see, Ray, you must be happy on Facebook. Everyone has seen it. I'm sure Phil's seen it with the amount of realtors he's friends with. I love how the emojis keep changing. Some people have the same emojis. Other people have changed the emojis. That just shows how many times it's been copied. So just create your own content, you guys. Share your own story about what's going on in your world.
Well, not only that, Barb, you and I have talked about this multiple times, especially over the last weekend. Keep in mind who your audience is on social media. And, sometimes we get into realtor mode and we are posting things that the public doesn't really need to know, our dirty laundry. Yeah. So just keep that private, keep it to yourself, or pick up the phone and call a fellow realtor to complain.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie, because I'm seeing a lot of realtors that are out there. Here's the deal. We don't know how long this is going to go on. And I would hate to see all of you shut down your businesses for 2 months because you are inadvertently turning away business. For instance, posting on Facebook, I saw a realtor post, hey, what do you guys think about us being essential? Do you agree or do you not agree? Your clients are seeing those comments. Mm-hmm. Your clients are seeing what people's opinion is, and they may be forming their own opinion of what you should or shouldn't be doing, or whether or not they're going to list their home or not because of a question you posed on Facebook. Yeah. Save that for the private groups that might be realtors only. There's plenty of conversations going on about it. I don't know that I would be sharing that out publicly on my page. Remember, social media is a form of marketing for people in our businesses. And we have to be really careful about what we're sharing because they may not understand it the way we understand it. So Sheila, all I know is I'm tired of everyone trying to sell me something from the fear of these times.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, John just brought up another point we need to talk about. One more point we need to talk about.
Oh, the clear cooperation. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's saying he just got an email from Katie Johnson at NAR, who is the fantastic NAR, whatever you want to call her, top dog in legal world at NAR. She's amazing. And there's going to be no delay in the new clear cooperation policy. So realtor friends, if you haven't read your CRMLS emails, and I would assume, Phil, we should get some training out on that.
We do have training on that. It's a webinar training, and there's also tons of videos, and we'll send them out again because as of May 1, you got another month, but as of May 1, the new clear cooperation does go into effect, and so we'll start pushing that again. We have, but we'll start pushing it again.
And I'm sure we'll cover it on a live like this prior to May 1 as well.
Yeah.
I have to say, I like how much participation we had from our listeners today. It's kind of fun to bring people in and answer questions like that. And so.
Yeah. I just want to say we're here for you, you guys. I mean, Phil obviously is the CEO of our association. If you don't know, he's the best CEO in the state, if not the nation. But
money's in the mail, Barbara. Money's in the mail.
It's really, you guys, you don't know how blessed you are to have him as a CEO of our realtor members. But Ray, Stephanie, and I are around. I mean, you can get a hold of us. If you have questions or need help, like call one of us, especially Miss Stephanie, who is your Madam President for 2020. Like, we're here to help you. This is unique times, and none of us are going to not pick up the phone or not return a phone call or a text message. We may not have all the answers. We might point you to your actual broker of your, responsible broker, because that's who really should be answering these for you. But if you just need help or advice, or you're stuck, I mean, I'm here to help, and I know Stephanie and Ray
too.
And that's what we're here for too. We, like I said, we still have 250 people calling a day, and I actually see that going up, not down right now. So give us a call, and we'll do our best to answer it. And if not, we'll direct you in the right location where you get the right answer.
And John, for our brokers that are tuning in today, John just reminded us that April 15th, we're going to have a legal webinar for the new clear cooperation policy with Ed Zorn and John Giardinelli. So mark your calendars for that if you're a broker or manager. I'm sure PWR will be getting that info out.
Yep.
Stephanie, is someone sending you messages? Because you're making some funny.
No, I'm watching Ray's face, and I'm looking at the time because Ray's concerned his cuckoo clock.
It's about to blow. It's got two little guys that do beer mugs like this too. You guys want to see? We'll go out with that. So are we going to try to do this more often, once a week maybe?
Yeah, we can. It
Okay.
definitely, if we have information, which the information's happening daily. So right now, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of information. But yeah, we'll continue doing this regularly.
I can't wait till we're back in studio with each other. I will say, while we're waiting for the cuckoo clock to go off, Live with Kelly and Ryan, which is what this show was made around, they're doing their show this way with all these little windows. So I feel, Ray, we don't need a close.
Here, I'm just going to make it happen.
Oh my God.
Does that go on all night long, Ray?
Yes.
Oh.
The kids have gotten used to it.
Oh,
geez.
Now it's
Wait, that's on in the middle of the night?
yes.
Ray.
Well, you have to wind it every day, so we go long times without it being on.
And you chose to wind it today when you were going to be on a live?
Kind of.
well, he's been home doing his honeydew list, and that was on the honeydew list.
So.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll have PWR send out an email a day before we're going to do another one. And
thank you guys for your participation.
Where'd Ray go?
Ray, do you have PDD? Because you
my
could not
laptop die. I had to unplug it.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
All
stay
right.
classy out there. We need everybody to stay classy out there right now for sure. And thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Are we still online?
I don't know.
Stephanie, is it off?
Hold on.